couldn't wait to get out of there. I went to the Shell gas station next door, because this was before cell phones. And I called up the Anaheim guys and said, Neil, what the hell are you telling people? He says, what do you mean? I said, you tell them I don't own the company. He said, well, you don't. I said, yes, I do. You're my 3 new partners. He says, no, if you look at the contract, I hung up the phone and I drove straight back to San Diego and I pulled the contract out and I read it. Oh, shit. Technically, I don't own the company. And I just went into this huge depression. And it lasted about 3 days, and I didn't speak to anybody outside of my wife. I couldn't get a rational thought together. I was just paralyzed because I'd seen myself as the founder of this huge international shoe company one day, and now I didn't even own it. And it was on about the 3rd night. I was lying on my back on the floor in the living room, and I was watching TV, and my wife Laura was sitting up on the couch. And the show finished, and I clicked off the TV, and I rolled over on my stomach and got up on my hands and knees, and I started crawling towards the bedroom. And Laura, who's a really quiet person, she just looked at me and said, "You get up now and walk to bed like a man." She scared the crap out of me. And like as I came up off the floor, it was like coming out of a fog, and I just went, oh my God, there's so much more to life than this crappy little sheepskin company. You know? And that night I slept like a baby. And the next morning I woke up and I'm back to Brian, Mr. Positive again, And I sat down and was in the middle of a meditation, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what can I do with my life, real estate, no. A business broker, maybe. Accountant, never. And then I got this massive dose of goosebumps again. And I'm going to segue here for a second. I want to ask you to put your hands up because I know everybody in this room gets goosebumps, right? But here's my take on what that is, right? Because I've had a lot of things happen in my life, and I've just formed this opinion that God isn't out there at the end of the universe. I mean, He is, but not just out there at the end of the universe. I've come to believe that there's a fragment of God in every single one of us. And it is perfection in knowledge, and it has a mission for what it wants us to do in this lifetime, right? And think of it as not as a body having a spirit. I want you to think of a spirit in your body, right, that carries it around. And it has a mission, what it wants to do. And every time you make a decision or see something or realize something that's in alignment with that vision, it sends a message to us. And it can't talk to us, or it can't talk to me anyway. And but it sends it through this electrochemical system, and it comes out as goosebumps. So I want to challenge every one of you from now on. Every time you get those goosebumps, just stop for a second and think, what did I just think? What did I just see? What did I just witness? What did I do? And I'll bet you it'll be something that's quite meaningful in your life. So why did I get the goosebumps? I thought, sales. I've come to love sales, right? Now what can I sell? And that's when the goosebumps hit. I said, oh shit, Ugg boots. I love Ugg boots. And so I ate humble pie, and I called up the guys in Anaheim. I said, look, I may never own this company, but I want to tell you, I want to go on the road. I want to get a pair of Ugg boots on every single person in America. And so we made this deal that they wouldn't tell anybody that I'd sold the company. And I just went on the road now as a sales rep, and I started having a ball, The first month I was out, just visiting with everybody, and I got back to the warehouse at the end of the month, and Neil gave me an envelope. I opened up, and it's a check for $5,000. So that's your commissions. Shit, that's the first money I'd ever pulled out of the business. Right? Over nearly 6 years. And so when the next month I got back as a check for $10,000. The next month another check for $10,000. And I started realizing, I am having a ball out there, and I'm making all this. That was a lot of money back then, right? 10 grand a month. And I started realizing that another piece of philosophy. This is one of my favorites here. It says sometimes here, but I'm going to tell you always, always, your most disappointing disappointments will become your greatest blessings. Right? How many of you in this room in the last 12 months have had some disaster happen and now you look back and think, thank God that happened? My God, look at how many hands there are. It's like, it's pretty much universal. And here's the trick though. You've got to be able to spin quickly, right? I've got to the point now when something goes wrong, I go, ah, shit, that's good. And now what's good about it, right? Because if you languish for a month going, oh, poor me, this shouldn't have happened to me, the world's unfair, life is so cruel, it'll just drag on and on and on. But the minute you can just switch gears and take ownership of the disaster, you'll be surprised at how fast you can pivot and have something that's way, way better than you were dealing with before. So this is one of my favorite pieces of philosophy.